How's everybody doing today? It is December 5th, 2020, and this is a video that should have been posted yesterday. I had a couple things on my end, on my computer that have been completely deleted. Almost all of my YouTube videos that I had saved have been wiped, which is just insane. I didn't even think this was even a possibility. And anyways, so I've been doing everything I could, taking what I had left on this laptop and transferring it over to another computer so that I have whatever I can at least left saved. But anyways, that's not a big deal. We're still putting out videos every day. We got to get this information out there. And, that may have been them coming after me somehow or not. I think that it could have just been a complete issue with my laptop in general. I've had a lot. So, but let's get back into this. This, like I said, should have been coming out yesterday, but still, I want you to see this information, okay? We're going to start here. It says, Biden's stern warning. You cannot be traveling during the holidays, right? All right, so this video is going to show you how far they're going to continue to go to make sure that you're listening and following and obeying all of their rules, okay? And so, like right here, as CV surge continues, the president-elect urges Americans to stay home over the upcoming holidays. Should say stay home, but they messed up their own article. Look at how it's like the urge, right? Oh, we're just urging them, and it's because this surge is all happening, right? It's getting so bad. That's the only reason we're doing this. We're only doing it for your own benefit and your own good, right? That's what they've been saying since the beginning, and we know that is just it's not true, okay? But let's read a little bit of this, okay? It says, President-elect Joe Biden says he doesn't want to scare anybody, but he's pleading with Americans to not travel during the upcoming holiday season. He says, with no let-up in the surge in the CV pandemic across the nation the past month, Biden emphasized on Wednesday that people need to understand the facts. We're likely to lose another 250,000 people dead between now and January. You hear me? Because people aren't paying attention. You hear that? I heard him. I heard fear, panic. Please, everybody panic and fear and listen to me, because I'm up here throwing up these big numbers so that you can be, feared for your life and your family's life. That's all I hear, okay? Because I do understand the facts, as do you and all of my subscribers. We understand the facts, and the facts aren't what you've ever said that they were, okay? So, let's just keep going. It says, 2 weeks ago, Biden warned that as many as 200,000 more people across the nation could die from CV19 by the time he gets inaugurated on January 20th. I'm going to repeat something we've been talking about since the beginning, right? How do they know all this, right? They have been so on point on the dates when, say, the vax was going to come out, the dates of, or not, how many people were going to die, on this date, on that date, where we would be, they've been, just miraculously right on point. Now, do you think that's because they just have gotten lucky, or do you think maybe because it's been planned since the beginning? We will leave that up to you to decide, but I'm pretty sure I know this has been a pandemic since the beginning. It says, and the president-elect speaking during virtual roundtable with workers and small business owners impacted by the economic crisis stressed, you cannot be traveling during these holidays as much as you want to. I think it's just, it's pathetic, it's horrible, and it's just true evil. He sat down with these workers and the small business owners. You don't care about them. You have completely destroyed any small businesses. You've destroyed so many middle-class families, It's just, it's so wrong for them to, come on here and act like, oh, we care about them. We're going to do whatever we can for them. No, you're not. You're all out for big corporations staying on. That's why your Walmarts have never shut down. Your McDonald's have never shut down. It's pretty, it's pretty messed up that anybody could believe, oh, well, they're really looking out for us. That's why they're shutting down all the bars and the restaurants, all your local ones, your smaller ones. But, we're going to leave open Walmart. We're going to leave open your McDonald's and your Burger King. Well, can you explain that to me? Because I'm pretty sure that those places right there, fast food, where people are handling food nonstop, touching, passing, talking, all within 6 feet of each other, right? With their social distancing. And then you look at your Walmarts, where you're going to have more and more people in these places due to the fact that you shut down all the other places. Oh, but that's safe. They've never had to shut down, right? Sorry, get a little worked up, but it's just ridiculous. It says Biden spotlighted his own small gathering during Thanksgiving, which broke a decades-old tradition of large family gatherings, and asked Americans to heed the advice of public health experts. Remember? This is what you always got to hear. They're going to continue to say this because we need to listen to them because they are the public health experts. Don't do your own research. Forbes even put up an article on this. I've done a video on it in the past. Forbes comes straight out and said it is dangerous for you to think on your own. It is dangerous for you to not just listen to the health experts, because in this, situation, it's a matter of life or death if you do not just listen to them. They're the experts. Stop messing around. Don't do your own investigation. Don't try to discover anything on your own. Just take our word for it, and we promise you that's the best thing. Well, sorry, that's not happening, okay? Not on my end, at least. It says, and they pass it on large get-togethers later this month. It says Christmas is going to be a lot harder, he noted. It says roughly 273,000 deaths have been linked to CV19 since the CV swept the nation in February and March, with nearly 14 million total cases. Cases, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's just, let's just throw these big numbers up there. Have you ever heard them in the past say, there's this many, flu cases? No, you never heard them say it like that, okay? Because the numbers would be so much more. On an average flu season, okay, which is usually, 6 months on average, somewhere in there, 30 million flu cases. That's how many? 30 million cases of the flu. This only has 14 million in, 10 months now? 11 months? Yeah. You put the numbers together, none of it adds up. That's the reason that they've done all this. That's why they've merged everything with the flu and with CV. That's why they're not, like I showed you about a week ago, they're not even tracking the flu anymore. The CDC has stopped tracking the flu. They will only track CV now. Do you think maybe that the reason that they stopped tracking the flu after how many years of tracking it and just started tracking CV is because maybe they're the same thing? Possibly, right? Maybe this is just this year's strain of the flu or something in that area. Yeah, I'd say there's probably a pretty good strong chance that that's it. All right, but what I want to get this out to you right here. I want you to see how far they're going to continue to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Okay, and this isn't fear. I'm not saying run and panic. What I'm trying to get at is the how far they're going to go with each thing. Before it was just, you're going to get yelled at if you don't wear a mask. Then it become, you're going to get a fine. Then it was, now you're going to go to jail, right? That's if you don't wear the mask. That's how it is going to go with the testing and the vaccine, okay? It's the same steps that they do. Each one is the same thing. You just replace one. Start with the masks. Then switch to the test. Now switch to the vax. Okay, this is exactly how this is going to go out. And you can see these headlines up here just real quick. CV lockdowns by state, what you need to know. See? That's what this is about. You know what I mean? Breakdown state by state. They want you to see that it's a lockdown everywhere. And this is what's happening. But what happens if you violate? What happens if you don't follow their exact guidelines or their exact laws, I guess, depending on where you're at in the world, okay? Well, let's just go through a little bit of this that I've pulled up for you. All right, check this out. This is from a couple days ago. It says, couple with CV arrested for boarding flight to Hawaii. The report said the pair posted $1,000 bail each in Kauai. Okay, so, says a couple was arrested on Sunday for boarding a plane after they had tested positive for the CV, according to reports. It says the man and woman, both 46, from Oahu, Hawaii, reportedly knew they had tested positive for CV19 when they boarded a United Airlines flight from San Francisco to Kauai, Hawaii on Sunday, according to SF Gate. It says the website, which is the sister site of the San Francisco Chronicle newspaper, also reported that the couple was traveling with a 4-year-old child. Says the couple both reportedly tested positive for the CV while they were at the San Francisco International Airport. They were reportedly told by officials at the quarantine station not to board the flight and to isolate instead. Says, however, they decided to board they decided to board anyway. Okay, really? How don't we have, when you think about these airlines, right, getting through security, since when do you have a choice like that to, they're going to say, you are not to board this plane, and then somehow you still get on the plane, right? How? You can't. That doesn't make any sense to me. When you go through security, they don't want you on the plane. You're not getting on the plane. It's not like they're gonna say, "Oh well, yep, sorry, you had this weapon. You should not, board this plane. But we're just gonna turn around and look the other way. And if you end up doing it, so be it." It doesn't add up to me. Okay, that's why these stories seem to be more Fed stories. They seem to be more headlines. Headlines to put out there to cause fear and push an agenda and a narrative. It says, after the flight landed in Hawaii, the couple was arrested by the Kauai Police Department for reckless endangerment. Police said the couple put their fellow passengers in danger of death, SF Gate reported. Since then, they were both able to post bail that was set at $1,000 each. Well, if they did that, if they put the passengers in danger of death, didn't the airline? They allowed them to get on the plane. They said they knew that they tested positive. So why did they allow them to get on there? Who's more at fault here? In my mind, it's the airlines, not the people. It says, police told SF Gate the 4-year-old was released into the care of a relative. How nice, right? How nice for this 4-year-old child that gets to remember this for their entire, they're young, so hopefully they won't remember it. But you understand what I'm saying. It's something that a 4-year-old should never have to go through, and it's just wrong. It's just another thing you see how much detriment this is going to have on these children and just everybody in general. It says the Kauai Police Department, working alongside our county and state partners, remain diligent in protecting the health and safety of our island. Kauai Police Chief Todd Raybuck told SF Gate, "We continue to request visitors and residents alike to follow the governor's emergency rules and take all necessary precautions to prevent the spread of CV-19. See, everybody, they're being able to take everything everything and throw it out the window. Everything that you thought you were allowed to do, say, anything. It's all gone because of this CV so-called pandemic. All right, and I'll just keep going. All right, I pulled up a few more articles. I want you to see this, and I want you to see how it's throughout the whole world. That's what I continue to try to let everybody know. This isn't just a United States thing. People get so caught up in this election. They're still caught up in it, and I understand because they're being distracted with it. But you have to realize this is something that's happening worldwide, and it's on such a larger, case than this is. Okay, you have to realize that this is so much more important than your local elections, whatever country you're in. Okay, this one really stood out to me too. Okay, look at this. It says UConn tightens quarantine protocols for students on Storrs campus, requires the students to get tested before leaving for break. That was I had to read it like 3 times. I was like, before? I was thinking, oh, well, they're tested after. When they come back, obviously they got, they've been with their families, so they have to test them, right, to make sure that they're okay before they come back onto campus. That would have followed in with what they've been saying. No, they're making them test before they even leave to go home. It says there are 7 new positive CV-19 cases on the UConn campus and 24 off campus. The recent rise sent the entire campus into modified quarantine as of 5 p.m. Friday. Said it didn't take long after the lunch break for the surveillance testing line to fill up outside the field house on the UConn campus. Students without symptoms were there to get tested for CV-19. Did you hear that? Students without symptoms. With the rise in positive cases, 5 more dorms have been put into full quarantine. It's getting serious, people. We can't really, go to class, and we just to, stay in our dorms, and we can only go to certain dining halls for, the rest of the semester, said sophomore Sophia Preda. Preda lives in the Busby Suites, which, along with the other 4 quarantine dorms, houses 406 students. So think about that. You got 406 students that are on quarantine now, on these lockdowns. This is just horrible, It says it stinks because I'm a music student, said sophomore Thomas Roberts, who also lives in Busby Suites. It says, I play percussion, so that's all hands-on. Yeah, they're just getting their lives destroyed. It says this is in addition to 5 other dorms housing 544 students already under full quarantine. So that's almost 1,000, right? You had, 400? Yeah, so almost 1,000 people, It's nuts. It says the dining hall is closed. You can't eat at all inside, said Roberts, who was grabbing lunch in the dining hall on North Campus, where there are a few dorms also under full quarantine. I just bring it back to my room. Look at this. They have no life, okay? As of 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, the entire Storrs campus was put into modified quarantine, meaning all dining halls turned to takeout only. The rec center is closed, and there are no in-person student activities. There are still in-person classes on campus for those not under full quarantine. All students will be exit tested. There it is, exit tested before heading home. So before your child can come home, they have to test. And if they test positive, they don't get to come home, you know? It says, after the week-long break, UConn moves fully online, so when the students leave for Thanksgiving, they won't return to campus until January. So why? Why, right? You know, up here, I missed one line. It says, I'll test myself before I leave to make sure I'm safe to go back to my family, said Roberts. No, that's not, if you want to do that, that's one thing, but they're forcing these children to do this, these students, okay, because they're all over 18, so they're young adults, okay? But right here, it says they won't even come back until January. So why did they have to do this? This is ridiculous. It's just another way for them to force testing on, you know, these people that they want or not. Look at, I'm going home in a week, said Pratt. I'm going to see my family for Thanksgiving. I don't want to give it to my grandparents or anything like that. It does concern me. It does kind of concern me. She's also concerned with what next semester will look like as part of UConn's modified quarantine. Students must, here we go. This is when they come back. They must wear a mask, refrain from groups or gatherings. It says stay in their rooms unless they are going to class or other academic activities, picking up food at the dining halls, participating in CV testing, and or going for walks outside away from other people. Residence halls that need to follow quarantine protocols include, look at this, all of them. You know, I don't know how many there is, I'm just saying, but you can see the list there. I'm not going to name them all. You know, it says students have a 1 week vacation break from November 23rd to the 27th. Then they will complete the last few weeks of semester online. I mean, this is just insane. You know, this has already happened, obviously, like I said, but I'm trying to show you where it's going. Okay, let's just keep going because this gets more and more. Look at this. This is up in Vancouver. BC man who just came back. This was great, too. Check it out. Just came back from can't say that word because that one will get me flagged. Festival arrested for violating the Quarantine Act. And I looked this up. This Quarantine Act in California. A lot of stuff happens there, but that's not what this one is. This is up in Canada, okay? I'm going to show you some of that, what it's about, okay? It's actually been around for a long, long time. But listen to this, okay? It says, New Westminster, BC. A New Westminster man has been arrested and charged after allegedly failing to follow quarantine orders once he returned to Canada from the United States. Police in the city say 47-year-old Makan Singh Pahar was ticketed late last month for violating the Quarantine Act, okay? After re-entering the country. But even after receiving the ticket, police say he kept leaving his house. Says, so days later on November 2nd, police arrested Parhar for repeated violations under the Quarantine Act, okay? And that's what I'm going to show you is this Quarantine Act. It allows them literally to do almost anything. There is almost no limits is what it sounds like from what I can read. There's no limits. They can, and I'm going to show you. Just give me just a second. It says, our priority is the safety of New Westminster residents, said Sergeant Sanjay Kumar in a news release issued Thursday. Said violations of the Quarantine Act put others at risk. Travelers are required to self-isolate for 14 days whether or not they have symptoms. This is something we take very seriously. And Kumar said Pahar had been informed of the policy by the Canada Border Services agencies when he came home. It's clear after posting some videos on YouTube that he chose to violate that, where he repeatedly went out into the public, putting others at risk, Kumar said in an interview later in the day. In a video posted to YouTube the day before Pahar's arrest, he can be seen speaking at an anti-mask rally in downtown Vancouver, talking about his recent trip to the United States to attend Flattoberfest, which is a conference for people who believe that the earth is flat. I think I can say it that way, but either way, I'm going to. Do you think this is just ironic, right? Do you think this is all a coincidence that they're going after somebody that is against what? The mask rule, the mask laws. They're, somebody else that's into some other conspiracy thing. They're always coming after us like this, okay? It says in the video, Pahar says he was given a form on the plane before landing in Vancouver International Airport. They gave you a form and you got to fill it out. Now you got to quarantine, he says. They call it quarantine. It's not really quarantine. It's self-imprisonment. Put yourself in a jail and stay there. Don't interact with your friends, family, whatever. Stay inside and don't have a life. I mean, he's right. He's right on that part. This is ridiculous, right? Even if you have no symptoms, no nothing. I mean, this is just getting worse and worse. We're just seeing this everywhere, all right? But I'm going to leave this one here, all right? I'm going to jump onto the next one. This video is going to get too long. But here's the Quarantine Act, okay? This is what I was talking about. This is from back in March, okay, from the Canadian Press. This is what you need to know about the Quarantine Act. I'm not going to read this whole thing. All the links are always in the description. But I want you just to read a few parts. It says, Canada is making unprecedented use of the Federal Quarantine Act in a bid to curb the spread of CV-19 pandemic. The order, which went into effect early Wednesday, hours before it was announced, means all travelers returning to Canada are now legally required to go into self-isolation for 14 days rather than simply urged to do so. Here's a closer look at the legislation. And ever since back in March, like I live in Michigan, so we have these signs on I-75 that say right on it, only essential travel only will be allowed into, to cross the border. And, it says stuff just like this, talking about when you're going across the border, what's going to happen. So they've been up since the beginning and they're still up. It says, according to the federal government, a piece of legislation bearing the same name went into effect shortly after the Confederation in 1872, but was left largely unchanged for more than a century. After the deadly SARS outbreak of 2003, however, the government acted on a recommendation to, here it is, beef up the legislation. Says the act as we know it today received royal assent in 2005. What's allowed under the act? The legislation gives the federal health minister sweeping powers to stop the spread of communicable diseases either in or out of Canada. These measures include everything from routine screenings conducted by quarantine officers at airports to the sort of mandatory isolation orders issued on Wednesday. That's it. It's sweeping it. There's hardly anything that they cannot do. Look at this. The Quarantine Act is always active. It's being used all the time, says Steve Hoffman, director of Global Strategy Lab and a global health law professor at York University. It's just not always used in a very public way. It says the act was invoked earlier this year when travelers returning from Canada, from Wuhan, China, and their other worldwide hotspots for the novel CV were detained for 2 weeks at an Eastern Ontario military base. Did you hear that? They were detained at a military base, which I'm going to get into at the end of this, okay? But Hoffman says the latest orders issued by the health minister, Patty Hujda, take the government into uncharted territory. We've never seen a quarantine order this broad or affecting so many people at once in Canada, he said. Why is the government taking this step? Here you go. Here's your huge answer. They said the measure was necessary to send a message about the importance of limiting the spread of CV-19, which has sickened more than 3,000 Canadians and killed at least 30. This is back in March, remember? So they're trying to show you all the way back then how serious this is and how serious they want you to take their laws, right? Or their quarantine, laws that they're trying to put, these guidelines they're trying to put in. It says the order comes after women in Quebec and Newfoundland and Labrador were arrested for violating provincial orders requiring to stay at home after they traveled abroad. People are not understanding that this 14 days is absolutely essential to protecting the health of their health and their fellow Canadians. There is perfect clarity around the need to isolate when Canadians come back from abroad, wherever it is. From the USA or other international destinations, we are implementing the Quarantine Act, so there is no confusion about the need to do so whether you are symptomatic or not. So if you have symptoms or not, it doesn't matter, right? So think about that. This is what they're throwing back in March. Well, why hasn't it helped, right? Now look where we're at all the way in November and December. Well, their whole thing really didn't work, did it? It just shows they can do almost anything they want, okay? There's no strict guidelines to what they can and what they can't do. They're pretty much opened up to everything. Check this out. This is in Australia. Look at CV Australia News. CV-19 case leaving quarantine is a very significant risk for South Australia. Nicola Spurrier says. Says, an infected man who left quarantine and visited several shops in Adelaide last Sunday poses a serious risk for South Australia, the state's chief public health officer says. This is all you ever hear too, right? Everywhere now, right? The chief public health officer, right? Whichever they are, the health officer. Says the warning comes as testing numbers drop for a second day in a row amid hot weather in South Australia. Here's a summary of what happened on Sunday. It says one new case of CV19 in hotel quarantine. Cruise industry developed CV19 protocols ahead of lifting the ban. It says South Australian man breaches quarantine while positive with CV19. 2 new cases were recorded in Queensland. NSW records 0 locally acquired CV cases for the 22nd day in a row. Professor Spurrier concerned about a drop in testing. See, testing is dropping. Testing's dropping. Oh, Australia's had it horrible. I mean, I don't know how they've done it, but you Australians, you have had it rough for as long as I know. I mean, especially when it's come to this. This has been insane. That New Zealand too. Really, really bad. Look at this. It says those who attended SA English language schools since November 13 must self-isolate. No new CV19 cases or deaths in Victoria for 30 consecutive days. So you're like, they're just throwing everything in your face, and look that's all for the CV19 blog today. Thanks for following along. Stay safe. We'll see you again tomorrow to throw whatever else is in your face. Here it keeps going. Look at woman in quarantine at Rivervale motel charged after allegedly leaving to get fast food 4 times. Yes, this is from the 2nd from Perth, Australia. A woman in quarantine at the Rivervale motel has been charged by police after allegedly leaving her 4 times in 3 days to buy fast food. Now think about it. Wow, that's you do that now, you are getting arrested. It proves how insane, how crazy everything has got so fast. Police officers from the Self-Quarantine Assurance Team, check that out, the Self-Quarantine Assurance Team, attended the Rivervale Motel where a 50-year-old woman was in quarantine yesterday after traveling interstate. The officers could not find her when they arrived, alleging she left in her vehicle to purchase fast food. Police then established the woman had allegedly left the motel on 3 other occasions to purchase fast food across a 3-day period. The woman is expected to appear in the Perth Magistrates Court on December 22nd to face 4 counts of failing to comply with the direction. This is just crazy. It's crazy. Here's another one. Look, police have also charged 37-year-old woman who allegedly breached self-quarantine conditions by taking her 4-year-old daughter to the park Tuesday. That's how sad this has gotten. Look at that. Can't even take your child to the park. It's just really, 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 really bad. It is. It's bad. Let's just keep going here. Look at man. This is man remanded 3 days for allegedly breaching quarantine to visit family in Marae. Just another one. These are just happening everywhere. A 24-year-old man has been remanded for 3 days after he was arrested for allegedly flouting the government-imposed CV19 quarantine at a hotel here. Magistrate MD, I can't even say that, Hilimi, ordered the suspect to be remanded until December 3rd, although investigation officer Inspector Akmal Nazarek had initially applied for a 4-day remand order. It says in his remand application, he was told that the court suspect, who was being quarantined from November 16th to 29th, was captured by closed-circuit television video. CCTV camera leaving the quarantine center on November 20th from 3:33 until 9:24 p.m. You're hearing this, right? The CCTV, this is what it's going to be. It's what I keep talking about, Big Brother. No privacy, no nothing. You're going to be watched everywhere you go. You're going to be on camera. You're going to be tracked. Your phones are tracking you everywhere you can. I mean, this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. They want all the cash gone so they can track every single thing that you buy, everything that you do. This is all coming full circle, what we knew was coming. It says, look at the suspect also left the quarantine center on November 21st from 8:57 p.m. until 11:05 p.m. and November 22nd from 12:05 a.m. until 1:07 a.m. He said a police report was lodged against the suspect, which led to his arrest at 5:20 p.m. yesterday at the Miri Central Police Station. When questioned, the suspect told the police that he left quarantine to go to his family's house. God forbid that he wants to go and see his family, right? It's really, really, it's sad. Because look, this is another country, but the same type of charges. The man is being investigated under Section 269 of the Penal Code for negligently spreading a dangerous disease under Section 22B of the Prevention of a Controlled Infectious Disease Act of 1988. Yeah. Every place has their own, act, their quarantine act, or their, look at that, control of infectious disease act. All of these are wide open. They have sweeping orders up and down. They have literally no bars how far they can go with it. It's just and this is where I just want to end it. This is just one quick article, but I want you to see how they're going to start bringing in the military more and more, okay, at these quarantines, okay? This is from the 24th of November at 4:30 a.m. It says military to be brought in for beefed up ACT hotel quarantine, okay? And it says Canberra's hotel quarantine program will be bolstered by the military this week, where the capital is expected to receive its first international flight since June. See, so they have new people coming in. They have international people coming in, and now they're going to what? Beef it up with the military, right? It says Chief Minister Andrew Barr says the ACT has made a number of further requests to the federal government, including for the use of dedicated Australian federal police officers instead of ACT policing at the hotel quarantine site. See, so what they have there in Australia already isn't enough. They want the military. He said the territory would be using the Australian Defence Force personnel. Wow. In lessons had been learnt from the situations in Victoria and South Australia. I told you it's bad in Australia, right? I told you, like, you want to talk about Big Brother being on you about everything? Man, Australia is at the top of the list from what I can see. It says it is expected a Singapore Airlines reparation flight will arrive in Canberra on Thursday, but discussions with the federal government are ongoing. See, this is the thing, is you're going to start seeing a bunch of these reparation flights, okay? They're going to start happening all over, and then you're going to obviously be seeing the military brought in more and more. But I'm going to end this one here. I still have 2 more videos that I got to get out to you today. But this one ran a little long, but it's a lot of good information, so I hope you stuck it out. Everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that no matter what that I show you, you know that I'm not showing it to make you fear, to make you panic, to have anything like that. I just want you to know the information, see the information, so that you can stay ahead of them. Because as long as we can stay 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of them, it gives yourself, you and your family, a much better chance to, it's not about beating it. It's just about being able to be prepared a little bit more. It's a thing about survival and safety. And if I can give you the information about it, and it gives you that, that privilege, that, chance to just be a little bit ahead, it's really, really important to me, and I know how important it can be to you. So we're just going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to get the information out there. Everybody stay safe, stay strong, please. No fear, no panic. Continue to pray, please. Right now, your faith is so, so, so strong, because it is the one thing that can fight against this evil every single second when you don't feel like it. Trust me, your faith, your relationship with Jesus will be there, and it will, no matter what, Jesus will have your back. I promise you that, okay? Everybody, we'll talk to you real soon. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay ready. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.